Okay, that's really secret very What? No, no. Okay. Sexual interaction is compatible to water and fire. Water and fire can kill man or help him, depending on how they are used. Pao, the Plain Master. To be a Taoist is to experience life as a harmonious flow of life energy. In the traditional Taoist terms, this flow in humans is from Qi to Sheng from breath to sex essence to spirit. It flows both visibly and invisibly in a never-ending cycle, as it circulates within you, between you and the world, and between heaven and earth with man in the middle. It is the blood that flows between heart and kidney, the love and hate that passes between man and woman, the storms and sunshine that circulates between sky and earth. Many people drown in this flow of life. They are simply overwhelmed by it. Some can get enough flow and feel cheated or better. Others drift aimlessly without purpose, alienated and unaware there is a flow. Regardless of your attitude towards life, nearly everyone seeks at some point to anchor themselves in a love relationship. Such is the power of the flow of Qi, of sexual essence between man and woman. This much is obvious. What is also obvious, but is almost always overlooked, is the polarity between male and female, and the subtle flow between their two magnetic poles. This polar exchange is overlooked because the flow is invisible to the physical eye, and because its workings are often too subtle for the uncultivated mind to perceive. That is why Taoists study the workings of Qi, Qi, and Xian. These energies, also called the three treasures of life, are the subtle language of life, and to speak in them properly takes years and practice and refinement. At first approach, it might seem like learning a foreign language, but after a few lessons, you quickly realize you were born speaking this language and merely forgot the subtle grammar of Qi energy while being intensely schooled by parents and teachers on more mental subjects. This flow of energy between opposite poles of male and female is the key to harmonizing the flow energy in one's life. It is the simplest and most basic secret, not only the Taoist masters, but of every esoteric tradition. It is the key to mastering the Taoist secrets of love. It's simply because it's based on the natural law of the universe, that positive and negative forces attract and bond with each other. It's as true for a single pair of magnets looking together as it is of the protons and electrons locked into the dance of subatomic particles that form the atom. The Taoists call this polarity yin and yang. Terms that have become popular today is in the field of holistic health, but are not well understood in terms of their functioning in sexuality. One way the Taoists describe it is with the simple metaphor of cooking. Yang is fire and yin is water. Man is fire and a woman is the water. When man makes love with a woman, he cooks the woman's water in her womb with his fire, penis. The woman is almost always sexually stronger, for her water puts out the male fire. His erection loses its flame. Yin, the soft and yielding, always conquers yang, the hard. In the same way, water rivers are yin, or female, trumps over solid rock. Thus, a stream slowly wears away the giant mountain and carves the Grand Canyon a mile deep. Yin and yang, battle of the sexes. This battle between yin and yang is seemingly endless. Just like the never-ending battle between the sexes, in fact, the Taoist sages also use the metaphor of combat to elucidate the act of sexual love. For some men, love is a passionate struggle for domination and surrender. To the Taoists, it was more a lawful play of opposites. Ideally, you enter the battle of the sexes with a spirit of gamesmanship. You approach not with the intention of defeating your lover, but in the hope of matching her grace and receptive energy with the exact complementary male skill and force. Unfortunately, few men today seem to proceed this with such tact in lovemaking. As a result, most are beaten soundly within minutes by the woman. This failure is due to tactical ignorance of both the male sex organs and the nature of sexual energy. Misunderstanding of love's strategic laws is so widespread that a myth has developed that the average man cannot fully satisfy a passionate woman. In fact, the average man can unfailingly satisfy his mate when he learns to discipline his forces. Untutored man's nature is to attack. He possesses the offensive weapon. Woman is to defend. She protects without exhausting herself. When man assaults furiously and discharges the sperm, he crumbles. Yet the woman may remain most eager to continue, even if she kindly denies it, and thus spares her opponent. To pursue the martial metaphor of the Chinese, the woman's shield and short sword is her vagina and clitoris. Man is armed with a long spear alone, his penis, and man attacks too violently with his love weapon. Woman easily defends of his thrust and does him in when he shouts his seed. But if man remains beyond woman's striking range, she drops the shield from fatigue. The contest will be over before man has lost his vehicle of higher vitality. The point is this: man must stop throwing away his sexual energies. When he stops the sperm loss, woman is no longer in a position of superiority. She meets her match and no longer suffers disappointment. Man doesn't exhaust himself and retreat in humiliation, yet feels he has met a good match. Woman reaches the limits of her erotic capacities and is ready to make real peace with her opponent. The sages thus advise you to use your tactical weapons first. Hold the strategic one in reserve. In other words, use the finger, tongue, and other parts of the body before using the penis. Though tender and skillful use of your other limbs in foreplay, you may bring your partner to a state of very high receptivity, as the first step is gaining equality with a superior opponent. Her breath will rise, respiration and glandular secretion will increase. You should wait till fluid rolls to the vaginal lips before using your chief arm. Give your lover time to fully enter the condition of love before you enter her. The battle between man and woman is over when both recognize that neither can win, by either dominating or submitting. At the moment, both become free to surrender to each other and exchange their deepest love. Their vulnerabilities have been matched, and their fears of losing is neutralized. Higher orgasm is a delicate balance of polar energies. But how to reach that point of tenderness, where both lovers joyously yield and receive life from one another? It sounds great on paper, but what happens to tense energies left over from a tough day at work, and an argument with your wife about whether she should go back to work? How you keep daily politics out of the bedroom? This chapter will offer some practical ways to approach lovemaking with the goal of balancing the flow of yin and yang power. But first, understand the principle of polarity is dominant in this sexual practice. The single most important point to remember about polarity is that yin and yang energies are not separate energies. They are one and the same energy, but with two different charges. They never exist apart from one another, but they are always in fluid motion, like a pendulum swelling back and forth, passing from hot and cold, and gradually moving to stillness at perfect moderate temperature. Another metaphor is to see men and women as two sides to the same coin. During love, the coin spins rapidly, fusing the two sides into one. That is how man and woman can become one. They simply realize the flow of sexual energy between them is continuous and belongs to them both. Each lover is the opposite, ends on the polar flow. When the exchange of qi reaches a certain intensity and balance, the solid bodies of the two lovers begin pulsating as if charged with electricity. The feeling of having solid flesh disappears. You are suddenly a pillar of vibrating energy held in exquisite balance by your lover's field of energy. This is a total orgasm of body and soul. The battling ego shrinks to its true size, a tiny grain of sand, and reluctantly begins humming in chorus with the ocean of the sublit universe that rhythmically washes over it. Many men may have a glimpse of this, but few are able to sustain the experience because they discharge the energy from their half of the polar field by ejaculating. This is not true orgasm. It is merely releasing the discomfort, the exquisite itch of too much energy, excited energy that has nowhere to move but out. A true orgasm occurs when both man and woman continue to pulsate together. The sexual energy completes a full circuit between their two magnetic poles, charging each of them more fully than before. This circle of the Tao, the black and white teardrop, symbols of yin and yang, flowing into each other in perfect circular harmony. The flow of sex energy alone cannot complete this circle. Love must be present. The mind must participate in sex with a totally attentive feeling. The circle of energy cannot connect if a man only joins with his penis with a woman's vagina without loving her with his heart. That is like holding the ends of two horseshoe magnets close and then only touching one arm from each magnet. The other arm also wants to connect, to seal the magnetic attraction. Only when both positive and negative poles of both the man and the woman are locked in place can the energy flow with any power and a stable balance. That is why sex alone without love makes you unhappy. You are only connecting one half of yourself to the woman, and your lower half of that. The flow of qi in the Tao circle is broken, and without that total flow between yin and yang, no amount of sex would satisfy your deeper desire for wholeness. The ejaculatory orgasm, in which most men are so deeply attached, restricts their life force to the genitals. During sex, the penis literally bursts with life, as it's too small to contain the expanding sexual force. The penis was not designed to hold your life force any more than it was designed to be your brain and your central nervous system.
Mommy,
Go get it. Go
come, pee.
Okay. The real function of your penis is to conduct life into and out of the body. The sex organs are only doors through which life enters and issues forth. When the upper poles of men and women are connected at the heart and mouth, as well as the genitals, then the magnet can become an electromagnetic dynamo. Then the qi can nourish the qing qi in the lower half of the body and combine together to transform into spirit into the upper half. If both men and women cultivate their qi upward and refine it to a high level through meditation and love, they can develop a polarity which creates a supermagnet and conducts even higher spiritual energies through their human form. Such experiences break through the bounds of individual pleasure and sensation and go beyond the satisfaction of the personal egos to attain an entirely different state of being. Good job, Sahir. You're awesome.
We.
No, mamush. Go get agua. Go get an orange. Go get an orange. Perhaps you know a couple who is radiantly happy and deeply loving and do not practice any esoteric method of lovemaking and who you assume ejaculate and have orgasm to their heart's content. You write to us, why bother learning these simply complicated and time-consuming Tao exercises and methods of sex energy transformation? Why not just love your woman the way you know now and let nature take its own course? Why meddling with the one pleasure and the above all others should be free of schooling? The simplest answer is that Taoists are trying to help nature take its course within humans, not to alter its basic processes. The radiant and loving couple you know
Mommy.
could be doubly radiant and live 10, 20 years longer in good health to enjoy their love if they conserve their chi ching and practice the transformation of the sex energy. Perhaps the radiant happiness is more attendant. Thank you, Sahir. Okay.